me about how sometimes we get to a place and time in our life or in our age, especially when we're dealing with seniors or elderly, that there could be certain energetics that we were never able to really look at or clear out energetically. And where that will show up will be in the colon, in our intestines, because that's our last place of letting go. So we digest, we sit with it, we work through it, and then energetically, that's our bubble of reality. That's the last place of truly being able to let go. And the stuff that we're not able to let go then sticks energetically to our walls, which then becomes the filter of which we see our reality through. And sometimes it can be to a certain degree where as we get older, we can be a lot more emotional because of our hormonal, of where our hormones are at that time and place, kind of thing, of where we are in life at that time. And sometimes it can be so deep in the, it's almost as if we could be looking at something that hurt us when we were very young, and now, we could be in our 70s or 80s trying to work through stuff, and we find that we're too emotional, that we can't balance out our hormones, our emotions, to work on whatever that is that's stuck. And what I have found that has helped for others is by working with the higher self of that individual and seeing which other parallel timeline, which other lifetime in a parallel universe could this person work through that, so that you could remove it off of this timeline, you could detach it, not take it on yourself. As Christy and I were going into it, was that because that can cause 1,000 times or 100 times more karma on ourselves if we're coming from being a martyr of that we have to clear it. And most of the times it's not for anyone else to clear, but rather give aid or guidance or hold space to aid that or guide that person through whatever that is that they need to go through. But when we get to a certain place or stage in our life where emotionally we've reached a point in our life where it's like, well, we don't want to do any more of that emotional work. We've done our lifetime, and now we want to enjoy, and we don't want to actually even look at all this stuff, because it's like, well, we've had 80 years of looking at it, kind of thing. And sometimes it's that deep and that painful, and it really is. Now you could use like Reiki Fire in order to surround it with Reiki Fire, so that you pull it out and then you put it into whatever that timeline that is best for the highest potential for that person. You put it into that timeline so that they can work through that, so that if they would end up coming back into another lifetime in this realm, then they no longer have to bring that with them, or it wouldn't deter them in their next levels of awareness that they'd be going through once they were on the blue road of spirit, is what I would call it. So hi, everyone.
Oh, that was incredible. Thank you.
I just did a bunch of like solstice rituals and stuff like that. So maybe I was just too
Yeah.
I don't too buzzy. I don't know. Yeah,
No.
I had to calm down. So
Yeah, you were in a higher frequency.
oh,
It's
wow.
taking. Well, yeah.
So happy solstice.
Happy solstice.
Happy solstice.
And the question is, what future can you choose right now that you've never acknowledged?
You asked that, and my brain just went.
But that's good. That's actually good.
Oh, okay.
Because we're not reaching that. It's like, well, we have to have an answer. What if it's an infinite possibility? And only when we're looking for solidifying our manifestation do we attach an answer to it.
We caught all her kittens and then adopted one of them, but the mama is still out here, and she lets me pet her and stuff, and she's doing all kinds of flips right here now.
Oh,
but I don't have money for to have 4 cats, so I don't think that she would want to be inside anyway, but she knows that her baby's in here because I let the baby out sometimes, and then they like smell each other and play or whatever, or kind of, like hang out for a minute. But it's like she wants to come in, but then at the same time she doesn't. So I just feed her every day and give her scratches, and in the winter we let her live in our garage. Because she's like the guardian of the land. Yes, she is.
So
she showed up last year on a weekend when Danny was out of town, and she was like so intense looking, like her eyes looked gray. They were really, really intense, and she just sat in the yard. Like, even though it was like a thunderstorm, she was just laying in the grass, like sitting there. Like, I even like put something outside so that maybe she would like go under there for shelter, and she was like, nope. She just sat out there, and then when Danny came home, she did that for a couple days, honestly. And then when Danny came home after being gone, I looked outside like the next morning, and she had 4 kittens nursing off of her, and they were probably like 6 weeks old at least when she brought them out. So that's why she was just chilling so close, and she must have had them behind our garage. So then we had kittens for a whole summer in our yard until I caught them and brought them to the shelter where they all got homes. And then I went back and got one of the little girl because I loved her and I couldn't stand it. So I got so much cat energy here, it's ridiculous. I'm just trying to be Snow White, okay?
I really feel quite happy now. I'm sure I'll get along somehow. Everything's going to be all right.
Many of us really relate to that whole
Thank you.
part of the Snow White story, the archetype of the Snow White. It's, I do also.
Like
have
an affinity for animals, you mean?
Yeah.
What's the snow? What's the archetype part? Like, I'm confused.
Well, what's interesting is it's part of the hero's journey.
No, honestly. No one's ever seen this before. white heart bows before the princess, father.
He's blessing her.
What are you talking about?
You have eyes, huntsman, but you do not see. You who have been with her the longest. She is life itself. She will heal the land. She is the one. Can't you feel it? Are your ailments not gone? Gold or no gold, where she leads, I follow.
I'm with you. Yes, father.
It's also where Snow White learns the depths of Snow White, is also learning not to be a martyr. And it's interesting because that's like full circle. And about the whole animals is the fact that it's easier when we've been through different traumas or pains and all of that stuff through our childhood. We find it that our true connections are with animals and not actually with humans. And it's the animals that teach us how to reconnect with humans by teaching us their unconditional.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
And I have a choice between a dog or a person to spend time with. I'm spending time with a dog. That's how it is. And honestly, like my parents' dog Beans that passed away a few months ago, he was so good about teaching me how to be present. You know, like just so patient with me. I would be sitting there trying to write or something, and he would just start barking at me like, "Don't you see? We're sitting here watching television, and what are you doing? You're not paying attention to us," you know? And, you know, and that's like, you know, so I learned, like, I can't multitask all the time. I have to be present. I have to put my books down. That was totally Beans.
It's interesting. I still feel my very special cat that I had years ago, and his name was Buddha. And he was a big, fluffy Siamese Himalayan, and he was man. He taught me how to laugh. He taught me so many great things. And to this day, every night when I go to bed, I still feel him come up and sleep on my leg in the way that he used to, still to this day. And I think it's amazing that,
yeah, those energies are always there with us, and it's, yeah, you can barely feel them still. That's pretty cool.
Which also teaches us about being multidimensional, and that the form changes, but the essence is still there.
Oh yeah, I learned everything. Like, I learned to trust mediumship after my dog Scout died. Like, I learned to trust it because the message was just so powerful coming from her. It could not be denied. And it was just it was soul shaking how deep it went. And yeah, I that year after that, between Scout passing and Prince and finding Prince, was just so many lessons from her. And yeah, powerful stuff.
What a blessing, because they also teach us about the letting go.
Charlie, you can come home now.
You said
Charlie, you gave your life for her. Come home.
But what about Anne Marie?
Say goodbye, Charlie.
Charlie.
Yeah, it's me. How you feeling, kid?
Okay, how are you?
Ah, I come to say goodbye.
Where are you going?
Just on a little trip. Listen, Squeaker, I want you to do something for me, all right?
Uh-huh.
I want you to take care of Itchy. You know, just while I'm gone. You got a home now, and he doesn't have anybody.
Don't worry, Charlie, I will.
Great. Well, goodbye, little buddy.
Oh, Charlie, I'll miss you.
Yeah, I'll miss you too, Squeaker. Now you go to sleep. Huh?
Charlie, will I ever see you again?
Sure. Sure you will, kid. You know, goodbyes aren't forever.
Then, goodbye, Charlie. I love you.
Yeah. I love you too.
Charlie, come home.
Oh, and as much as we are attached to our animals, they teach us what true, authentic connection is rather than attachment. And if we can take the lessons from our animals about connection rather than attachment, man, we'd be living in a whole other reality bubble. Because, you know, really, when it comes down to it, most of all the stuff that we fight for, or that we get triggered on, is stuff that we're still attached to in some way, shape, or form. And once we release it as an attachment, and it becomes a connection that doesn't have the shame, blame, or guilt, or doesn't have the transaction behind it, because attachments come with transactions rather than a true heart-based connection. A heart-based connection is not an attachment where I'm going to die if I don't have this or that person or that animal. When in fact, they come to teach us that that is called an attachment, which is also part of the addiction's energy, whether we want to really look at it or not. But eventually our animals do teach us about the whole letting go and the flow of what that letting go is, and to still remain in connection multidimensionally with any of those energies that have are now on the blue road of spirit.
I was picturing everybody loving their dogs as much as I love mine, and I was like, what would the world look like? And a lot of people would show up to work late because their dog would want them to stay home 5 minutes longer.
That's so true. And one of the things about that is like how can I put this? The first dog I had, when I had Scout, I didn't realize how fast the time goes with them. 15 years is like a blink of an eye, you know, or 16 years or whatever. And it's like you don't realize, you know, until that happens, how much time you have to savor. And the same goes with people. Like, we don't realize how important it is to savor and be present. And pets bring you into that immediacy. That's
why when it comes to that, each and every one of us all have a very unique gifts to share with the collective. I have to say that Christy's purity, her authenticity with her energy, that holy fire is like, wow. Like I don't have the proper words for it because it's so potent. Because it's so authentic from the heart space, and there's no ego involved in it. And that makes a huge difference.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
It's really true. I remember a time when I learned about how potent the ego is during ceremony, and how it can really turn your world upside down, inside out in ceremony, because it's not coming from the authentic heart space. And I learned that with one of my very first fast, like a traditional fast. And I
will tell you as it was told to me, as told by the elders to my grandfather. When a young person was seeking his way, looking for answers to guide him along the good red road of life, the elders took him up to the mountain and put him up for 4 days and 4 nights. No food, no water, just his buffalo robe and the chanupa, the sacred pipe.
Fast. And my elder was telling me, okay, this is what we have to do. And we did all this stuff to prepare. And in my mind, and in my words, I'm using my mind, not my heart, but my mind was telling me, yeah, I can do this. No problem. No food, no water. And I'm all alone. It's a dream. I get like a great little vacation, and I get to like just doesn't sound very sacred, does it? So my intention going into it led to me being scared out of my first traditional fast. The spirits literally, like, they were banging on everything. They were hitting everything all around me and around.
And his son. This was called the Hamletia, to seek for a vision, a dream to show him the way.
Is your name No Ears?
I am Eagle Boy. Who speaks to me? Spirits?
There are other mountains you could have picked. Why here? All night long we have to hear you sing, cry, talking to yourself. What are you, crazy?
I come seeking a vision.
I come seeking a vision. You are not worthy of a vision, Eagle Boy.
You will not give up this quest. You are a warrior.
I was talking about how I went, sometimes when I'm finish my clearing or cleansing, I will then go and stand on grass, and I will then ground on the grass as my final cleansing or clearing. If I'm in a if I'm able to, then that's what I did. And when I ran out to do that and to give thanks for it clearing, then an eagle came right out from one of the trees right in front of me and swung right down and like right over me and went over to the other tree. And for me, that's always a confirmation when I'm doing ceremony that it's complete in whatever that is. So the way I see it is that everyone has different confirmations after you've done ceremony to know that, hey, it's all good, it all went well, or before you close down the ceremony, or sometimes it's right after your ceremony, then you get a confirmation. For me, it's with an eagle or a bear. It's either a bear or an eagle that shows up. I don't know about for yourselves. What's that like?
I was just laughing because I was like, dang, I wish an eagle would come and close my ceremonies for me. And then Danny looked at me and he goes, we have 5 hawks come to one of our ceremonies. What are you talking about, you spoiled brats?
You can't be picky about your raptors.
So anyway, I had a meditation in the sun. I've been trying to sit in the sun every day and take 60 breaths in the sun, because it's been really hot and sunny here. And the other day, I'll send a picture to the Telegram group. I felt something on my leg, and so I moved my hand to like brush it away because I thought it was a fly. And my one finger, I went to like brush my hair back, and on my finger was the tiniest praying mantis ever. It was so tiny. And I tried to take
this spirit animal represents looking inward and trying to figure out what your highest purpose is. This often involves doing meditation, excuse me, and letting yourself disconnect from the hustle and bustle of reality so you can gain clarity and intuition.
You may have seen them in your garden or park, but did you know that praying mantises have a secret superpower? These fascinating insects are masters of disguise, but that's not their only trick. Praying mantises are agile hunters with lightning-fast reflexes. They can also rotate their heads 180 degrees to scan their surroundings. But did you know that some species of praying mantis can also regrow their limbs? It's a rare and impressive skill that scientists are still trying to understand.
Take a picture, but it's blurry, but you can see its little head, you know what I mean? And then today, when I was trying to do the same thing, and I was actually making sun tea because it's the solstice, so I was sitting and I was charging up my sun tea, and this butterfly came down and landed on my yoga mat when I was sitting there, and I quick got a picture of it, and then it flew and went and stuck itself right like where its body was in the crack of my back door, and its wings were like splayed out, one on the door and then one on the ground. And I tried to get a picture of that, but it was like, nope, see ya. And I was like, man, that's so cool. I've been getting so many little insect confirmations lately. I'm like, okay, because praying mantises are cool. I don't know. I thought butterflies are cool too. I see much more of them, but praying mantis, a little baby praying mantis, I was like, I'm so happy I didn't kill it. I hope I didn't hurt it. I tried to be very gentle in putting it down, but
aren't they great teachers? Like, they're just incredible teachers, really.
The praying mantis?
All of them, whether
all
they be
insects,
yeah.
Animals.
Even the ones that look so disgusting to our eyes of what we've been programmed to see as beauty or to be scared of, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that the ones that are the creepiest to me looking are the ones that have the greatest teachings to share for me, because if I feel as though it's like no, I'm not going to touch it, I'm going to pick it up, then that's telling me that there's a lot more to that they keep showing themselves to me to say, hey, there's something else here. If you could just get past this programming filter, you'll be able to see the depths of what I'm trying to share with you.
I love spiders. I know they're like creepy crawly to some people, but I love spiders. We even have jumping spiders in our house, so they get the super green fangs or purple fangs, and they're so cool. I tried to be friends with one once, and I mean, obviously it was like, you're a human and I don't trust you, but I was like talking to it every day for so long. I got a picture of him too. I'll share that too.
Every day? How long did you keep it in your house?
I let it stay.
Oh God, I would have killed it. That's
no. Have you
my shoe would have just crushed it. Like,
no way.
Like, what are the color of its fangs? I would have been like, they're smeared on the bottom of my shoe.
Jumping spiders are the ones that you can have as pets, actually, and they have like little personalities and will like snuggle and stuff.
Snuggle?
Truly. They're fuzzy. They got little like helmets almost that they shed, and they leave these tiny little helmets all over. They're the cutest thing ever. Come on.
It's cute.
Yes, jumping spiders have fangs, just like we have teeth. Jumping spiders are not waiting for the opportunity to bite us because, frankly, we just don't taste that good to them. I've had over 400 spiders at this point, and I've never been bitten, and that says a lot. Jumping spiders like tiny little cuddles in tiny little sleeping bags. They have itches just like we do, so they give themselves tiny little scritches. And it's pretty cute when I find them sunbathing on their miniature benches. They're pretty polite, and they come over to say hello. Hi, cutie. And they even tilt their head out of curiosity when we talk to them. Or maybe just because we look a little strange. They like little uppies and will literally wait for you to put your hand out so that they can catch a ride. They start off really small and they grow super tall. And they leave us tiny helmet gifts along the way. Their tiny little arms reach for the sky, but only when they're not being shy. I'm so in love with these tiny web puppies, and I'm grateful I not only have them, but can share them with you all.
I'm going to help you heal your relationship with spiders.
I need to heal it, but I don't want me to practice healing it tonight. All spiders pop up. They can all stay in their hidey hole. Just put that out there.
Well, you can also choose to communicate with them and set up boundaries to let them know that, hey, they can share with you in your dream time and not in your reality bubble.
Push them with their dream time shoe.
Well, literally, like, I was down in Maryland and there's these huge wolf spiders, right? And like the bed where I stay there in the guest room is like under a window, and every night I check the curtains, I check all around because I'm like, I check the corners, I check everywhere, you know? And then there's no, and then I lay there and like itch for like 2 hours, worried that the spider is gonna come and like crawl on me. It's just weird. But
whenever I go out to the sand dunes with my little sister group and we have fires out there, when we're done, it's like you're walking with your, the light on your phone as a flashlight, and you're looking and you see so many wolf spiders like scattering as you're walking.
So we're out here at night looking for wolf spiders, because nighttime is not only when these spiders are more active, they are nocturnal, but it's also when you can spot them more easily. because wolf spiders have glowing eyes. But the thing is, their eyes aren't really glowing. It just looks that way to us.
Their burrows to avoid bigger predators. But at night, they're one of the most dominant predators on the landscape, even though you may not always be able to spot them.
Oh, look at this. Hold on. We have this beautiful big wolf spider here. Look at this. I'm trying not to breathe on her because that freaks her out. So this is just, oops, hello, come back. Oh, one of the many species of burrowing wolf spiders that you're likely to find out in a field like this. She's not trying to bite me. She doesn't want to bite me. She does want to get away, though. And it could be a wolf spider in the genus Tigrosa. They tend to have banded legs. They also tend to have that little thin yellow stripe between their eyes like that. But identifying wolf spiders is really difficult, and you can't be certain about the kind of wolf spider you have unless you get one under a microscope for the most part.
It's a lot. Wolf spiders I believe, can actually bite you, though, so you need to be careful.
Yeah,
of
that's
those.
not cute.
But push them away with your energy. Just be like, no. Mm-hmm. And then,
I set up a.
Mandy, I wanted to ask you, what tribe were you sitting in lodges with?
Oh, Mi'kmaq.
Mi'kmaq. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Mi'kmaq and Mohawk, but mostly Mi'kmaq.
Cool.
From New Brunswick.
Oh, that's cool. I just had never heard that way to open the door before. I know that everybody's got the different languages, so we say ahoma takwiyasi, right? Is that what we say?
Ahoma takwiyasi, yeah, and then he just says open the door.
Open the door, yeah. He says ahoma takwiyasi, and then he says open the door in English. But, yeah.
That's Lakota.
That's Lakota.
And it also depends on the ancestors of the land, because ultimately that's your community. Like when you're opening up all the directions and you're asking the ancestors to come in and to participate, you also want to be in union and communion with the land that you're doing the ceremony on, and the land has its own set of ancestors. And so I learned that also the hard way by thinking, from learning what I learned from the elders from Elsipogtog, from the Mi'kmaq Nation out of Elsipogtog in New Brunswick. I was asked to do a ceremony in Ontario, which is, a couple of provinces out. And the way that I was taught from my elders from Elsipogtog in New Brunswick was not in the way that I should have started off the ceremony in Ontario kind of thing, because that's a whole other group of ancestors, a whole other spirit of energy in that land. And one of the protocols spiritually that we're supposed to do is go to see who is the elder of that land that has been holding the responsibility of that land first, and make an offering to that elder first to ask permission to do a ceremony on the land, and to ask for certain ways or certain things that you might want to, like, how does the spirit of that land work, kind of thing. So by me saying upset nogama to the ancestors in Ontario, they might all go like, what you talking about, Willis? Like, what kind of thing? Because it doesn't match their ancestral, and it's almost like it's intruding and it's imprinting your beliefs into a land that has already has its own set of boundaries and rules and stuff like that. So I had to learn as I usually do the hard way. But it gives you a depth of understanding the real importance to it, because the ceremony itself, like the fire would not start. It wouldn't start no matter. And that was the first time I've ever experienced that, ever, where the fire just would not start no matter what I did to get that fire going, and it just would not start. So I could not force it. I had to close it down and wonder, what did I do wrong? Like, was I doing this wrong? Was I doing that wrong? What was I doing? And it was just the fact that I wasn't honoring the spirit of the land itself.
I would just have a question about what you were saying. So, did you ask the ancestor of that land, or did you ask a living person? Or I guess
afterwards.
You didn't.
Yeah,
But
afterwards I learned to do both.
Okay.
Yeah, afterwards I learned to do both. It was, and it's interesting to experience when, and it also, it also made me really look back at, just because we can do ceremony doesn't mean that we should do ceremony. Why are we doing ceremony? Is it because it's marked on a calendar that this is when we're supposed to do ceremony? And is that as authentic as being in union and communion with your own energy and the spirit of the land and all that is? And when all that is calls and says, hey, it's time, there's a big difference in that. Yes, there's our spiritual, in my opinion, in my experience, that there is spiritual cleanliness, absolutely. But then at a certain point, you don't want it to become a routine where the true authentic spirit of it from your heart, that in some ceremonies you can go to other people's ceremonies and you participate, and we're supposed to be as like communities and coming together and stuff, but you'll notice that in some ceremonies you might feel empty, and in the ceremonies that you're walking away and you're feeling empty, it's because instead of it being a life-giving ceremony, and the way that it was set up was to pull energy, and it might not have been the intention of whoever that started the ceremony. That might not have been their own intention, but if they're coming from ego, then that's what the ego does. What does the ego do? The ego likes to consume. The ego likes to distract. The ego is left-right brain, the polarity, whereas there's oneness of the heart.
You were saying that, I just had to say I needed that message today, because solstice is, Friday into Saturday, and Friday, right? Friday the solstice, or is it today? Or is it solstice Friday? Yeah. And there's this Wiccan group that I've been I studied with them, but I'm not it's all kind of weird. But they're having solstice ceremony tomorrow night. And what's weird in Asbury Park on the beach, Mandy, that's a whole other piece of that. There's all these weird energies around Asbury Park. And already setting it up and just thinking about it, I just think, oh God, is this an energy grab? Is this an energy grab? And is it worth me doing? Because also the group has been taken over. It's just, the group is not the group that I started with. It's the same people, but the dynamics have changed. So I needed that to hear that.
It's interesting because, and how I've come to that was that at one point for myself, I was so diligent with meeting specifics of ceremony must be done this day, this day, this day, this day. Ceremony must, no matter what, ceremony must be done. And then to find out that really in my own ceremonies with no one else, in just myself in the ceremony, where I was feeling emptied and not rejuvenated and vibrating, like where you're jumping off the walls and you're like woo, and it takes you a while to actually come down from that spiritual high, like that, just that heart power is like, oh, it's so incredible. And I realized that it was because I made it more of a chore rather than a choice. And once I took a couple of steps back and I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to choose not to, for a while, to clear out whatever this was that I was realizing and learning. And then that's where I realized after a while that it was like, I missed it, but what was I missing from it? Was I missing feeling the power of it? Or was I missing the connection? But because it was becoming the chore, it was that power that you get because you know that it's like, yes, you can da 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 da. And then that's where the ego steps in. And so when I work through the difference between a chore or a choice, that's what turned my whole spiritual experiences to a whole other level. And not a choice as far as, okay, I feel the pull, I sense it, whether it's the ancestors, whether it's the land, whether it's the water, whether it's the collective, whatever that may be. And I'll sense it, or maybe it's from my own higher self that is like, excuse me, you know what you should be doing? Hello, something's calling you. Like, come on, let's go. What you doing? And usually, those times are the times that I find that are even more potent than the ones that I have built up like in preparation for it.
That happens to me when I'm just doing regular stuff. Like, you got to do the grocery shopping, you got to do some cleaning, you got to do whatever. And then all of a sudden, spirit comes in and is like, you need to have a fire. And you have to be, and I'm just sitting there like, really? Like, today is the day that I got to get all my shit done. I got to do all the things, and you want me to stop everything and go have a fire. It's like, no, let me do this first. And it's like, nope, go have a fire. And I have to literally be like, fine. Or whoever that is that's telling me that, whether it's spirit or it's my guides or whatever, we go back and forth, man. I'm sitting there like, dude, we don't have time for this right now. And they're like, you need to make time right now. You need to do it right now. And I'm just like, gosh. So when you're with this group of people, the energy gets so intense, and then you're like, yes, this is awesome, and then the next day you're like, crap. It just had to integrate back into society, and this is ick and all these frequencies, and so that's all I have to say about that.
I need to have more fires. When you said it, I'm like, okay, that is the third time in a few months that I've gotten this message, and I absolutely need to have fires. I kept on like just waiting for the right time. Yeah, tomorrow. And I thought today was a solstice, Cherie, so maybe it's tomorrow for you. No, it's, the energies are still there. But yes, I definitely need to have a fire. And
oh, right, it's today, it's tomorrow, it's today and tomorrow. That's right. Right, the 20th. Right. No, you're right.
Yes. So, yeah, thanks for sharing that, Heather and Mandy and Charisse and everybody. Like, I am enjoying everything that everybody's been saying. And Mandy, when you talk today, like, I could just feel like my heart I feel like more and more love for you. I'm just I'm like, thank you for everything that you're saying. I'm like, oh, Mandy, oh my gosh, my heart.
Oh, Chrissy, I can't wait to hug you one day very soon.
Thanks.
All of you, each and every one of you. I can't wait for us to have a Soul Fam Jam celebration all together.
We're going to have a fire tomorrow night, I think, because the solstice and the Capricorn full moon are overlapping, they're within the same, today's solstice, tomorrow's the full moon. So we're going to have a fire tomorrow night. So maybe we'll be having one at the same time, Christy.
Yeah, I love that.
One's still good. We'll start up our first class next Friday. We still do our Thursday, chat and stuff. But then next Friday is when we'll start the Access Consciousness healing modality training.
I'm excited.
Me too. I'm so excited.
With this one question, can you guys all write this one question down? What's the one choice I can make today to start creating the life I desire right away? With this one question, before you take a sip of any liquid in the morning when you get up, from now until next Thursday, look at this one question. Just look at this one question. First thing in the morning, before you're about to either drink your coffee, drink your tea, drink your water, whatever that is, and see how your day starts to turn a little. Let's see. And we'll thank you and River too. And we'll give everybody great big hugs. And we will close out our session all together tonight